This is the Griffin Realty Group Ask-A-Griffin podcast, episode number 62. We enter into our agent plan in the section about database. Why is your database your most valuable asset? Are you a home seller or a home buyer who has questions about selling or buying residential property? Or an agent who needs some direction and you can't find an easy way to get your answers? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Griffin Realty Group and the host of the Ask-A-Griffin podcast. Now, to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction, if you need to sell or buy property right now or in the near future, or if you want to become a real estate agent, you can take advantage of our free step-by-step guides that are waiting for you at griffincourses.com. All right, let's get started in this episode. I love this conversation because it's not usually for agents the most obvious one in the agent plan. And that is, why is your database your most valuable asset? See, a lot of us agents, we get caught up in the conversation about CRM and database, and nobody really ever takes the time to slow it down and explain, well, what is it really for? A lot of people might default to say, well, it's about, organizing the names, all my contacts. Sure. Good start. But if you get up above the whole business that you're building, because that's what you are, if you're an independent contractor, you're building an independent business inside of an organization, unless, of course, you're an employee, you're told what to do, when to do it, that's different. But in this case, let's assume independent contractor. You have to see the end game, even if this end game isn't interesting to you at the moment, it still should be the way that you see the business, because it's sort of an immutable law. We all must think like this. So the idea is that a buyer of your business would be interested in buying what? The relationships you've created in that context of a business. Simple. That's all it is. If I come along and I want to write a check, get a bank loan, buy your business because I don't do business in that geography or any business. Let's say I want to go into a new geography. I'm going to go in there and say, which small business in here has done a really good job with simple systems, has created really good relationships with their clients, and still maintains those, and I'll get into that in a second, so that I want to go in and put a value on that book of business. That's what I'm going to look for as an investor, and that's what people would look into my business for and see valuable. So a buyer of the business would be interested in the relationships. So if you don't have a database to put those relationships in and describe them, with names, numbers, telephones, see a fully formed contact or evidence. How about this? Evidence of that relationship is a fully formed contact. Full name, email address, telephone number, and mailing address. That's pretty close to a fully formed contact. And then if there are notes in that database or the ability to take notes, what is the nature of this relationship? Is it a seller? Is it a buyer? Is it a referral source? Is it a past client? Well, those are things that change. Let's say with seller, buyer, agent too. If you have agency, where's all their business too? Because those are extensions of your value. So let's get into the second point there. You see, all of these relationships have a monetary value in the future, in the present, and in the past. So think about that, right? All of these relationships have a monetary value right now. In the future, think leads. In the present, think clients. In the past, think past clients. They all have a monetary value. Very easy to assign a monetary value in the database. If you have a lead and you got it off of the internet or it's an expired and you can identify value, you can assign a value to it. They expired at this, they were off in the co-broke this, so I can assume that there's a potential commission of this. Now, of course, maybe it doesn't sell at that, but still, you can assign a value, a potential full value to that. Now, of course, as you go through and you prospect those people, turn them into clients, they become a present value. I'm working with somebody selling their house at a very specific number and I'm getting closer and I know what that looks like. And then, of course, the past, what it actually sold for. And then the accelerant to that monetary value is the likelihood that that person will repeat in a short period of time, but more importantly, are they a referral source? Are they doing it regularly? Now, I can open up a can of worms there about what we should be doing to stimulate them to do that if they are inclined to do so. But the point is simple. It's a database point at this point in time. You should be able, at the drop of a hat, if Magical Investor showed up and said, or at least I showed up at your doorstep and said, show me in your database or print it out for me, just a simple list of all the leads you're trying to convert, all of the prospects and clients you're working with, right? Meaning prospects, we've probably given them some free information. They haven't quite crossed the Rubicon into client yet. And then show me current, you could even go into, present being, well, present could be three things, right? And, that are really gotten closer to monetary value, meaning they could be the prospect, they're almost there, but they're talking to us. Client, they are working with us. Closing, they're in the middle of being monetized. And that's a real value in a contract, right? And then the past is just a reiteration of that closing situation if it did close exactly at that. So all these values should be being assigned. I mean, don't make this rocket science. You can do this on a Google Sheet pretty easily. And you can start on a yellow pad or just a checklist where you're just assigning monetary values. And that's, of course, that's why digital CRM, contact relationship manager, is the definition I like the best. Contact, it's all that fully formed information. Relationship, what's the disposition? Are they future, present, past? What are they? And management is I can organize them in a list. And I'm huge on that sort of organization. And when I say I'm huge on it, I'm still always trying to get that organized, because as we proliferate and grow, the biggest challenge is database and its organization. But if I'm going to be a sound business principled person, then I need to do this more and more and more and never ending, okay? And the last point here is you must see those relationships also as never ending to increase the value of the database and the business. And I think that's where a lot of transactional agents who probably do a decent job with this, they'll go out there and they'll get themselves organized. They'll get a database, even a digital one, and they'll segment the database so they can differentiate pretty easily between the disposition, lead, prospect, client, closing, past client. They can differentiate those lists pretty easily. However, a lot of them create all these happy past clients, and they do nothing to stimulate that community. We're always talking about sphere of influence, right? Sphere of influence. I want to influence these people, and I want them to bring me our business. But how simple and organized is your plan for stimulating those folks to help you build your business? Because if you have an organized way of doing that, and you can prove, hey, look, you see all these past clients, we actually telemarket to them, we actually send them market updates, we actually keep them up to date on sold property so they can continue to see their value like a stockbroker, and they're more likely to repeat or refer with us because of that. In fact, here are all our top referrers, and here's how much money they referred. Now, I'm working on that. It's not perfect in my world either, but those are the principles that really, really are critical. So let me go back over this, okay? We're in the agent plan, griffincourses.com. We're in the agent plan. So if you're thinking about being an agent, or you're an agent already and you just started without a plan and you realize, oops, we're talking about database, which comes after marketing in the plan. Because when you start to market, you get what? People to put in the database at the front end, right? So why is your database your most valuable asset? So you think like a business person from the start. You're an independent contractor building a business. So you imagine in the future, the magical buyer with a big bag of cash comes to buy your business. And what are they interested in? The relationships you have. And so you need to be able to demonstrate those relationships to them like that. Second point is all of your relationships actually have a monetary value. So your future, so think all your leads and probably prospects, we could kind of cheat those together. Your future is the leads you don't know anything about, why they're doing it, when they're doing it. The prospects, you've had some conversation, and now you have an idea of, and I would probably say the future is more focus that on the prospects where you're having some conversation. You know what they're going to buy at, what they're going to sell at, and you can presume and assume your average commission that you're able to achieve, right? And so you start to predict the value of that prospect list. I do that actually. And then they become a real client and they maybe refine that a little bit more. So maybe they go up in price, maybe they go down in price. So you're refining that, and you're again using that average commission you're able to receive in a blended way. And then all of a sudden they go under agreement, they're in the closing. Well, now you know exactly how much you're making, so you have a very real number, and then they birth themselves into past client at that number. But the last point was, if you want to accelerate this business value, not only keeping track of all that and watching it flow, realize that, yes, money's going out to get them, it's coming back in with a commission, but your real goal should be to create really happy past clients. Those are the relationships that accelerate the growth of your business. So you have to have a good plan to continuously get them to repeat. By the way, a lot of you assume that a buyer or seller is just going to repeat with you because you sold it to them. You better show them some love, or that relationship atrophies and they're going somewhere else, and the value of your business is going down. All right, let me summarize it this way. I'll say it this way. Many real estate agents don't understand that the true future value of their business will be built and maintained inside their database. That's where it is. So if an investor were to be interested in buying your book of business or even your whole agency, it's critical to be able to demonstrate the monetary value of each contact. Sure, you can chunk it up, but each contact, and that you're maintaining, even as they become a past client, but you're more importantly maintaining a relationship with them that is never ending, so they're always likely to repeat and refer and continue the goodwill of the company and accelerate its value. All right, now remember, you can take immediate action to get started in the right direction if you need to sell or buy property right now or in the near future, or you want to become an agent, brand new, or get organized as an existing agent. We have step-by-step guides for you. They're simple, common sense plans that are organized for you, ready to go. You don't have to do some overthinking. Please, if you go to griffincourses.com, take the intellectual insecurity that says, I already know all this stuff, and set it aside. Humor me, take them. There's value in being organized and simplified. Also, don't forget, of course, you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you might be listening. You can find us on social media channels. We try to be everywhere. That way you don't miss these insights each time we upload. We'd also appreciate it, of course, if you would comment, share, talk to us. Let us know what you're thinking about selling, buying, or becoming an agent. We'll get you the help that you need. But remember this, we sign off the same way in all the podcasts, right? Nobody's coming for you. Nobody. So you have to take your own action and get to work on your own plan for buying, selling, or becoming a successful agent. And we will see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks again for listening.